I swear to God, I think Donald Trump probably made a phone call on this one. I also think that Kodak Black is now a puppet. A puppet meaning he can be used, right? Somebody in a high position or position of power sees him as a pawn, a piece on a chessboard that they can manipulate and use to their advantage. You could be all in your feelings all you want to, say what you want to say in the comment section, but Kodak been getting in some shit, and he always is able to get out of it. This latest incident is no different. I think somebody higher up made a call on this one. Rapper Kodak Black was ordered into drug rehab by the judge, meaning he don't have a choice. He will have to go to rehab. Seeing Kodak standing in court, that was one thing. But actually observing his actions before the judge, Kodak is so institutionalized, you could tell. He doesn't look like somebody that's scared standing in court. And I know how the comment sections be on social media because everybody behind the keyboard beating up their little thumbs, typing the toughest comments. We see what happens when y'all end up in court. We see what happens when y'all end up in the interrogation room. Just look at the YSL situation with Young Thug and all the others. There were a lot of people on there. Some of them are even shooters and killers, and they talk a lot of shit on social media. But as soon as that room start closing in on them, everybody turns soft, right? But watching Kodak Black in the room, ain't too many that's built like that. He actually looks comfortable in that situation. He looks like, yo, I've been doing this since I was like 6, 7 years old. And now I'm like 67 years old. Y'all caught that math? Yeah, so this my whole life. I ain't nothing in here that surprises me. If the judge says go in, I'm going to have to do some time. Then I guess I'm going to have to do some time. He showed up in his little Jolly Rancher outfit. He asked the judge for a candy, a Jolly Rancher. He comfortably walked up to the thing looking like he was high. As he was walking out the courtroom, he was unwrapping the Jolly Rancher and eating it. But he also addressed the judge in the courtroom. And he basically said, Judge, I'm out here trying to be the best I can be, you know, and there's so many great things that I can do being free. Every time, though, as soon as I trip up, all I hear is prison, 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 jail, 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 right? And there's so much I can do with my freedom, and I am doing it. I guess the judge took that into consideration, too. So a Florida judge has ordered that Kodak Black enter rehab for 30 days after he tested positive for fentanyl while awaiting trial on a drug trafficking charge. Y'all heard that? You already awaiting trial on a drug trafficking charge, and then you went in to go piss, and then you test positive for fentanyl, and they let you go again and say, hey, go to rehab. That's like a slap on the wrist. That's like I got people in high places that look out for me. That's like my money and my fame is speaking for me, because that's not the treatment that regular schmegler Joe gets. So a Florida judge orders rapper Kodak Black to drug rehab for 30 days on Tuesday after he allegedly tested positive for fentanyl while awaiting trial on a drug trafficking charge. Broward County Judge Barbara Duffy allowed the artist to remain free until March 7th so he could perform at the Rolling Loud concert near Los Angeles over the weekend. This was reported in the Miami Herald. So Rolling Loud's coming up. If y'all been following Kodak Black, you know the last time he was out in LA. I don't know if it's the last time he was out there, but I know he got shot up not too long ago while he was out there. And it was said or reported by his people that it wasn't his beef. He was trying to come to the rescue to aid off, trying to help somebody who was in trouble and ended up getting shot in the process. I don't know. I think they was aiming at Kodak Black. That's for a whole nother story. Duffy, the judge, had earlier issued, the same judge issued a warrant for his arrest. The performer, artist, who's 25 years old at the moment, Kodak is still young, had missed a court-ordered drug test on February 3rd. He missed the drug test. And then when he showed up on February 8th to get the drug test done, he tested positive. He's waiting trial already from a July arrest on the charges of trafficking oxycodone. And he has pled not guilty in that case as well. We'll see what happens when that trafficking case goes to court. I believe the details of that was that he has a prescription for the drugs. He just did not have it in the bottle that it was prescribed. For those of y'all out there moving around and you got prescriptions for strong medication, just know that it's the law that whatever bottle your doctor gave it to you in, that bottle that says you need to take 2 of these every 6 hours and it has your name on it and all that, you got to keep that bottle in your possession. If you don't have that bottle in your possession and the police pull you over and they find them oxys or whatever else you got prescribed by your doctor, it could be seen as illegal drugs, and it could be seen as you trying to traffic it or sell it to somebody else, whatever the case may be. So you don't want to end up in that position. You better get it together, is what the judge told Kodak as he was leaving the courtroom. Now, during the hour-long hearing, Kodak's lawyer, who's Bradford Cohen, he suggested that Kodak drug lab technician was all starstruck and shit when he saw Kodak in there. And because he was starstruck, listen to what this attorney said. He said the technician who they sent Kodak to get the drug test done, when Kodak went in, the person was like, oh shit, it's Kodak Black. Damn, it's a star in my presence, you know, starstruck. Could I have your autograph kind of behavior? And he might have messed up and mixed up the sample with somebody else's sample, mixed up the paperwork. The tech who took the sample admitted in court that this could be possible. Now, I don't know if they paid that tech off or what, but the tech himself admitted in court that this could be possible. I was so starstruck, I probably mixed up the paperwork with somebody else's. I'm sorry, I apologize. Wow. But the judge suggested that the singer have his hair tested. The judge said in court, right? The judge was like, listen, ain't no way he could have mixed up the paperwork, but we're not going to argue about that. We could settle this all today. Let's have a hair sample tested. And immediately Kodak Black's attorney, being smart as hell, says, hell no, we not surrendering no hair samples. A hair test could test drugs as far back as 90 to 120 days in your system. Even when you take that little flushy thing and get it out of your urinary tract, out of your bladder, out of your kidney, whatever, get it out of that space, it's still going to be in your hair follicles. So they pop that hair follicle and they test it and they find that same drug in it. It would mean that that technician did not mess up because he was starstruck, like he was saying the paperwork was right and you did fail the drug test. However, the judge, I think, could have demanded that a hair sample be removed, but the judge didn't. I don't know if the judge can or cannot. However, the judge didn't. The judge just said, you have to go to rehab and you have no choice. And this is the date that's set for you to go. Now, y'all got to remember, in January of 2020, right, the president at the time, Donald Trump, on his way out, he commuted a 3-year federal prison sentence that Kodak Black had for falsifying documents that he used to buy weapons or to attempt to buy weapons. Kodak Black had actually served about half of that sentence, a year and a half or so. Remember his mama being on social media crying about how they moving her son around in there and it's not safe and she hopes he doesn't die in there and all that. He was in there writing these disparaging letters about how bad it is in there and how he thinks he's going to die and they're treating him like shit in there, right? So he in there doing his time, which, by the way, I feel like he was railroaded on that one. The details behind that is this. Let's get this clear. The paperwork says, do you have or have you been convicted of a felony? At the time, Kodak did not have or was not convicted of any felonies. So he put no on the paper. But he did have a case that was open that was a felony charge in that case. You understand? Right. So, but he hadn't been convicted yet. So that's why a lot of people was like, man, he wasn't convicted, so he does not have a felony conviction, which he put on the paperwork. But They said since you did have that case open, even though you weren't convicted, you should have put on the paperwork that whatever. So that's how he got that case. And Donald Trump looked over there and said, let Kodak Black out. Kodak Black is nominated for the iHeartRadio Music Awards Hip Hop Artist of the Year. And he has sold more than 30 million singles with massive hits like Super Gremlin, which reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts last year. That's a huge feat. You understand? All right. So with that said, Kodak is out here. He's doing his thing. And hey, man, more power to him. I just feel like Kodak is so institutionalized that he's gonna end up back in prison. I'm hoping that he doesn't, but it looks like he is. Now, with that said, let's move right along. Wish him the best, and I'm out. Peace.